everybody? It's Dean, aka Razzy from Filthee Feet, and I'm here with another tutorial. Not really a tutorial, but just something that I wanted to share with everybody. It's something that I think is really important if you want to have clean footwork, if you want to have fast footwork, if you want to have quick footwork. And it's something that people maybe don't really think about too much, but it's the importance of your hands and your arms and really your upper body in footwork. So this is something that really got brought to my attention through learning stuff from Profo, learning stuff from Bounce, and just my own kind of experiences with just the dance in general, footwork. And yeah, it's something that people don't really think about when they think of footwork. They think of your legs, your feet, and whatnot. But really, your hands and your arms are what's supporting you while you're doing that for the most part. Your feet are constantly shuffling, they're moving around, you're shifting weight. And your hands will be the ones, and your arms will be the things that really hold up a lot of that weight while you're swinging around. Like a good way to think about it is if you look at a flare or something like that, your arms are your base. That's what supports you as your legs are swinging around. And footwork is kind of the same thing, but you're kind of just tapping around as you go around in that circle or whatever pattern you're doing. So that's the main thing right there, is your hands, your arms are that give you that strong base, right? Like that's why it's important to have them like right underneath where your shoulders are. You don't want them out here, you don't want them like forward or back. Like they've always got to be straight down, right? So that's where you want them as you do all these steps. Straight. It's supporting all your weight, and your feet are kind of shifting around, so they're carrying a bit of that weight, but a lot of it is coming down right on this pillar right here, which is your arm, this big pillar, right? So that's what supports you for the most part. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind, is like your arms are your base. Now the other thing which kind of has to do with that is your hand placement, and kind of like where you place your hands is where you're going to move. It kind of sounds simple, but you know, again, it's something that I think maybe people don't really think about, or they're not conscious of it. So a lot of this stuff that I try to share with you guys is like, it's these things that everyone does, or maybe you didn't realize that you're doing, but I'm trying to make people conscious of it, so that yeah, they can be aware of it, and just it'll help. I don't know. So yeah, the other thing is where you put your hands is going to dictate where you move, obviously, because you want to be able to support your weight, right? So if you put your hand here, like this is not comfortable. You don't want to be dancing like this, obviously. So you want to shift to correct it into that spot. So wherever you put that hand, your body's gonna want to shift to move into that spot. So this really became apparent when I first learned the 8-ball pattern of like 6-step. So that, I'll just show it to you really quick, is out of a 6-step, you come here, and then you cross, and then you go the other way. 6-step. Boom. Boom. Right? So there's no real shift there. Where I really learned it was when we were drilling just that transition in the middle. We were drilling it back and forth. And the drill that I was shown was this traveling step, which looks like this. And you travel forward. Now, in order to do that, in order to travel, you gotta reach to where you wanna go. So your hand is leading where you're gonna go. Hand moves forward, and the body follows, right? Hand moves forward, body follows, right? And it's only natural, like I said before. You're gonna put that arm out. You don't want, like, that's not stable, right? Your body naturally will want to carry a lot of this weight, right? So if you're like this, whatever, there's all this weight that's not being supported unless your arm is right underneath it, right? So if you're in a circle and you want to use that space, well, let's say you're at practice, that's something to think about, is where do I put my hands, and that'll allow my body to move, right? So if I'm just doing footwork off in this corner, whatever, and I want to move, I gotta shift to move over there, right? Wherever my hands move, that's where my upper body is gonna want to go. I'm just doing whatever nonsense, but that's the idea, right? So that's something to think about when you're at practice and you want to move around, or you want to explore using the space, which is really important. Is whatever your space you have, you should make use of. But that's another topic. Your hands are your base. They support you. They support your upper body. They support all this weight, because when you do footwork, you do kind of lean back a bit, right? So there's all this upper body weight that's unsupported, right? If you're like this, that's fine. You're just being supported by your legs are strong. But the second you start going into footwork, like your hips are forward or in the back, there's all of this weight that goes unsupported unless you use your hands, right? And your arms, I mean. So that's why they're really important. All of this on the side, all of this is being supported by the arm. It's kind of self-explanatory if you think about it, but like, it just, when you're conscious of it and aware of it, things just make a lot more sense, and you realize the importance of, like, where your hands are being placed. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it makes sense. So yeah, they're your base. Where you put them is going to dictate where you move. And if you want to think about moving around, you got to think about placing your hands in different spots to pull your body or whatever into that position. And your body is just going to naturally want to move there because it's completely unsupported if it's like this. Your body doesn't want to do this. It wants to be supported somehow wherever it's comfortable and natural. And the last thing that I wanted to get into, which has to do with the hands more so than the arms, is kind of this fingertip versus flat palm way of doing footwork. So I think being able to do footwork on your fingertips is better, at least for me, for a few reasons. Number one is impact on the wrists. Okay, so when you put your hands down, if you're doing it like this on your fingertips, all of that weight that's coming through the arm is being distributed throughout this whole area, right? Boom. It's this whole area. But if you do it flat palmed, all of that weight comes down on this one spot, and all of that impact hits right in your wrist joint. Here it's spread across your whole hand, way out to the fingertips. Okay? Second, number one, I think it saves your joints, your wrist joints, your wrist, right? It saves you some pain, some impact. Granted, your fingers are maybe less strong than that, but you got 5 of them, right? So it kind of evens up, maybe. Second thing is spring. So the way I think of it is, if you do flat palm, that's fine and it works. But to me, if you think of being on your fingertips, it's like being on your toes when you're standing, right? Your legs. And being flat palmed, it's just It's just a little harder to get that same kind of spring that you would get from your fingertips. Boom, 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 boom. But here on flat palm, like it's more arm than anything. You can't utilize this whole part of this full limb. This kind of gets shut down, and I'm just going, all the power is coming from my arm rather than using this as an extra boost. Same way that with your legs, if you're jumping, if you're flat-footed, you're jumping like from here. But if you're jumping off your toes, you get this extra little like spring in your step. And it can make all the difference, in my opinion. So it's spring, it's saving impact, and the third kind of thing that I think is really useful is height. So number one, there's less like travel. You don't have to go as far if you're going fingertips to fingertips, right? So it allows for smoother transitions here, whatever step you're doing. Smoother, quicker transitions, especially if you got that spring, right? And then it's really, yeah, about the height. So if you're doing stuff like, say, spider kind of style sort of stuff, like in between, or you're doing shortcuts, right? Having that extra little space does wonders for being able to like shoot through whatever, or shoot through and playing around in between your hands. That just gives you more room with your body. It's the same kind of thing as like if you're doing a thread, you want to grab the tip of your foot rather than like your heel, just because it's more, you have more room to work with. It's a bigger hole. So if you're here rather than here, there's just more space to work with. You got that little extra space. So that's pretty much it. Just a little like extra tip, extra footwork tip that I think would be useful for a lot of people is, yeah, just be aware of your hands, what you're doing, where you place them, and you know, if you have that solid base, solid support, then your footwork is just going to be able to go that much further than hopefully where it's at right now. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to try something new with this format. I always do those little subtitles and stuff, but I kind of don't really want to do that, and I want to just try and start moving towards being able to talk to you guys and communicate better and show you as I'm talking what I mean. So hopefully this sounds alright. I know the audio might be kind of weird. Stay tuned. If you liked it, give it a like. If you want to keep updated, give it a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. And yeah, just stay tuned for more stuff. I want to try and get more of these out there. Alright, peace.